Aarti, don't worry, keep driving your car, don't stop driving. And second thing she said was, there will be compensations. So I just told my sister-in-law, because my husband was in Times of India having a political journalist, covering BJP and all. I said, I find a big vacuum in my life. What do I do? I mean, we were used to a certain atmosphere at home, and phone ringing all the time. So it, she said, was turned out to be so true that from somewhere people came, would you like to join our NGO Society for Working Life? I said, I can't go. I mean, I don't have so much time. No, it's only academic. I took it up. Then we went for a conference. Then somebody spotted me. They said, here's the chairman, ILO. Rupali is making me to remember all these things, because this is the third time I'm recalling what all happened. First is my bad memories. Now I've closed them forever. Second is, the second thing is that whatever I have written in the book. And third is that I'm recalling now what was the pleasant moment. Life was so beautiful. And I want to relive the dreamy life I had, my childhood and everything. So then they took a turn while I was teaching in college, but I was associated with NGOs. And then I started attending WIN conference in different European countries. And Tristan Egwig was she's the one who started. First meeting, you get that uh, hunch that how this person is going to be. Tristan, I thought I'm just a associate professor in college. She may not, because they're very big women around, 1,000 women. I said, she may not. Oh, she straight looked into Arti Saxena, and then she started, you're going to have a session, because she was very interested in non-collegiate, what kind of women, and she gave me a chance to speak. And after that, for 5 years, she was inviting me. So these are the compensations which I could never imagine when Anil passed away. Things like that. Then me getting associated with Vrindavan, I mean, this Govardhan school. It's now 23 years. And I must have gone to Vrindavan at least 23 into 4 times since then. So I keep going up and down. So, well, there's a firm belief, like I said, when Anil passed away, one of my colleagues, Purnima Roopali knows, they were very close to Shri Shri. So they arranged my, trip to Rishikesh, because my children and we were totally shattered. And I was sitting with Shri Shri like in the same room, just chatting like one on one. So that changed. And then certain things I remembered for a few years, and then I just forgot. Then this COVID thing happened, and my daughter, my son-in-law, all of them had COVID. I can't tell you, I was again, like, I don't know, I was out of my senses. I was in deep depression. And my son played, at 4 o'clock, he would get up and suddenly Ram Ram chanting. So I said, Ye kaun bol rahe? He said, Baba Neep Karori. I said, Tumne lagaya tha? He said, no, I didn't. It just, that somewhere something in the universe tells me that, okay, you go on, tum chalo, hum tumhare saath hain.
Hmm.
And the women in my life who have impacted me, number one is Rupali, because I have terrible English. So she would correct me very, very lovingly, very affectionately. I said, Rupali, I gave a check. She said, you issue a check. I still remember to this day. And we would, when we walk from one place to another, I will tell Rupali, this flower, it only flowers in February. So my botany and her English will fuse, merge, and something great will emerge out of it. So,
Hmm.
and then she wanted me to become the proctor. I said, I can't speak there'll be large gatherings and parents and students, Sri Venkateshwara College. Rupali said, nothing doing. And I was proctor for 2 terms. So, Rupali, thank you so much for making me walking through the rainforest of beautiful memories. And I express my gratitude, because she has been very loving. I mean, I find that अपनापन है उसमें, जो आजकल कम दिखता है लोगों में, उसमें कुछ अपनापन है, which sort of makes me very, very, joyful talking to her. So, and she makes me write. और जब यादें आती हैं तो इसलिए कोई लौटा दे मेरे बीते हुए, because childhood has beautiful memories. And another memory that I would like to state, because mother, of course, as you know, she didn't stay with me. So Manu Bhandari, she was teaching in Miranda House, a famous Hindi writer. story writer. She was my Rajendra Yadav, Manu Bhandari were my father's great friends. So she was a big inspiration in my life, and my father was so impressed with her. She said, Manu's job is the best. She was teaching in Miranda House. She said, look at Manu. I mean, Manu auntie was like her plays were there all over the place, Mahabhoj and Aapka Banti, and then this film was made, Rajni Gandha. So Manu auntie, she was my local guardian in Miranda House. She would send me to for the shooting and then ask me, Aarti, how is it going? I say, Auntie, it is so slow. I don't know how long one can sit and take for one scene. It was being shot in Defense Colony, Amol Palekar and this Vidya Sinha would be there. So Manu auntie was there, my sister-in-law was there, then Professor Amina Ahuja, she's Padma Shri. She also, whenever somehow, whenever there's a problem, she lives in Florida now, she would call me. Is everything all right? She is half British, half Muslim. So I'll say yes. He said, no, don't let anything get you down. I said, oh, okay. कुछ भी आप परेशान नहीं रहेंगी. I'll read out Fale Hafiz, and then she'll recite a Fale Hafiz for me. So these are the sources, universe has given me to have resilience and look forward to. All I can say is that Hariye na himmat, bisariye na ram. This is my motto in life. And anything else that you would like to say?
बहुत खूबसूरत. So now that you mentioned Manu Bhandari, I remember when I was in school, कमरा कमरे कमरा वो जो कहानी उन्होंने लिखी थी, that was part of the syllabus. So somehow it comes back when you talk Manu Bhandari, and it is beautiful to know that's literally how everyone's life is.
Yes,
you upsize, then you downsize.
Oh, yes. She was there. I was there in Calcutta when she got married to Rajendra Yadav uncle. My father and they were very childhood pals from Agra. And from then somehow we had a very mutual liking for each other. And her big border sari and all that, no? And then we were non-vegetarians, so she said, I'll make bhutte ka sabji with that so that you eat like mutton, no? वो निकलेगा नहीं. And then she came to Delhi. Then I was a hostler. So Manuji used to say for my father, Girish ji gadgad honge. Gadgad is very happy, कि तुम मिरांडा हाउस पहुंच गए.
बहुत खूबसूरत. आपकी यादें सुनकर मेरी यादें ताजी हो गई हैं.
एंड रूपाली को इसलिए मैं बहुत दिल से प्यार करती हूँ. She makes me recall all these beautiful memories which otherwise I won't remember. Since yesterday I'm thinking मुझे क्या बोलना है, फिर मुझे मनु आंटी की याद आई. Then I thought of my sister-in-law was teaching in Janki Devi, and then Padma Shri Amina Ahmed Ahuja. They had such lasting impressions on me that made my life so beautiful.
So there are two things I got from what you shared today. One is the sisterhood in your life. That has been a big plus, including Roopali. Yes. And the second thing I think is transforming situations into what could be positive and move forward.
Yeah.
Those are two things I got from what you shared today.
Yes.
Yes, and I'd like to just say thank you to you, Arti. You've been a good friend too, all the years that we taught together. But when you mentioned the flower that grew in February, you were the botanist, and I was the English literature person, and I said, I now remember saying that every flower has its season.
Yes.
So I think today it goes for us all that every flower has its season.
Yes, yes. Get so emotional when I think of all this and the beautiful time we spent together in Sri Venkateshwara College. And I think I feel very much blessed. Absolutely, with such wonderful people to be with. Me and my family, actually, Roopali's family and my family, my children and her children, and Pran, we're very close to each other.
But you haven't mentioned that you run a school for the children of snake charmers.
That is in Govardhan. Yeah. If you want to come, please come, because I'm going on 14th to Govardhan. And the school is up to class 5, and you will be mesmerized. Let them dance. They'll dance Krishna dance. They'll wear peacock feathers. and they'll enact Leela. And anyone interested, please let me know. I can arrange a trip, and you will be very happy to meet all the students and the teachers. Teachers, they make me feel at home somehow.
Thank
they're
you
not
so
very
much for the
educated.
invitation. I wish I could just take it up and run to you and see your school
Yes,
and the dancing and all that.
yeah,
Thank you
yeah, and
so
they'll.
much for sharing your life with us in
Uh,
such depth and detail.
I'm honored. I'm absolutely
Thank you.
honored.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah,
And I
thanks.
invite Shamala Khanna, who has been a teacher forever. She admits to being a learner too, taught herself art, watercolors, learned photography, and became a photojournalist. She continues to teach English to the Agniveers of the Indian Army. With her doubles partner, she's picked up a bronze medal at the recently concluded Masters Games at Goa. And not to forget, her fifth book is in the making. She's on top of the world. Shamla, hold up your book and tell me about the story you've written and why. Who is it about? Is Shamla not there? Shamla, are you there? Don't tell me I don't have her either. That would be tragic. And it seems to be so. Again, my apologies. Sujata Rao, you are here. I invite you. You have worked in the Department of English at Sri Venkateswara College, DU, as Associate Professor. From your student days in DU, you've been writing, mainly short stories. As an undergrad student, you won first prize for your short stories for 3 consecutive years. You took to serious writing again in late 80s. You've been an all-round winner of Commonwealth Short Story Prize in 1998. Subsequently, you published your first volume of short stories titled The Warp and the Weft and Other Stories. Your debut novel, In the Shadows of Legends, was published in 2011. You keep contributing short stories for journals and anthologies published in Australia. Welcome, and over to you. Would love to hear from you about what you have written about, who you have written about. Most welcome.
Thank you, Rupa. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Audible and visible.
I can see only my short picture, so I thought maybe I'm not there on the screen. Okay.
We see you.
Thank you so much for introducing me. I don't. I contributed. You wanted me to tell you about how I contributed to this particular volume. Of course, as other people have been telling, some of Arti has been telling. It is Roopali who has been responsible for it. He was very insistent, and she went to the point of telling me that it is the what you call the date is there very much, and you have to finish it and give it to me. So I wrote, in fact, under her inspiration, you can say, maybe under her, because she wished for it, I wrote it. And I don't know how many of you have read it, but when she asked me to write my experiences of having reached such a ripe old age of 70 plus or even 80, I have to tell, as a woman, she said, as a woman, okay, as a woman, how I have become empowered, or how successful I have become, what are the hurdles I had to face, what are the challenges I had to face. That's what she asked me to do. But then I had to tell her that I did not have to face many challenges. I belong to the state of Kerala, where of course, it is the literacy, 100% literacy, and very politically aware people, and very liberal-minded people. And I belong to a family also, much very forward in thought, and then so I had no problem forever in pursuing what I wanted to. And I had written, I don't know how many of you read that article which I've written. I've written about a few women in my family. I mean, they belong to the, I'm born in 1870 or 1880, like that, those people, how they have been able to even pursue a career for themselves. For example, an aunt of mine, my father's older sister, she wanted to pursue studies in Ayurveda. So as she came from the royal descendant family, so she was not allowed to go out and pursue studies. But from the royal court of Travancore Maharaja, a special teacher was sent, and she qualified and appeared for the test over the paper. 4-year course, I think, 4-year course. She qualified for that, and with flying colors. And then she practiced in her own home, treating the people around, neighborhood, and all those things. And many of the women of my father's family and my mother's family, they were very liberated and very, they had they did remarkable things, like painting. Some people were very good painters, Raja Ravi Varma's descendants, and some were musicians, some were writers. For example, my father and my grandfather were writers. So that is how I perhaps turned to writing. I always wanted to become a writer, and of course,
and you did.
And life itself, like when I look at life, very ordinary events of life, in the most ordinary events of life. If I even hear a conversation in a bus, hear a casual conversation, even that can inspire me to write. I can see something very profound in the most ordinary. So that is how I turned to writing. And Roopali was one of my she was responsible in a way, or she was for the growth. She has contributed much, let me say, to my growth as a writer, and she has always been a sounding board for me. Whenever I write first, she will be the first listener. She used to be for a long time. Then, of course, I started writing longer novels and things like that. Even now, of course, we do exchange our notes and things like that. So Roopali has, and also the other Pushpa. They were very good friends of mine. I have known them lifelong. For almost my entire life, and they have all contributed to my growth as a writer and as a teacher. And I'm thankful to them, and I'm grateful to Roopali for having organized this event and letting me participate in it. And I'm also very happy to have listened to all these inspiring women and their narratives, their stories, real stories, not stories, real stories. For example, Dr. Sunil, how she said, so much of life is still there to celebrate. Even after reaching a stage in life, you can still say that life, there is so much still remains. That is great. Recently, if you give me 1 minute or 2 minutes more, I can say recently I have been in the US, United States of America, in Dallas. My sister has turned 90 recently, and she lives in an senior community, living, independent living. They call it independent living. She has an apartment of her own, 1-bedroom apartment. I stayed with her for 1.5 months, and I saw the elderly people, how they are celebrating life. They are full of, the way they learn new languages. They go for dancing, they go for music, they go for long picnics. And some people, like even men are also there. So they go even for new relationships. And it is like that challenging attitude to life. I really appreciate it. It's celebrating life. So till the last moment, one must have that spirit. And also, as a teacher, I always remember, English studies, in the English literature, one line always resonates with me. Shakespeare, what Shakespeare says in one of his tragedies, great King Lear, she says that ripeness is all. We are, as you're growing older and older and older, 60, 70, 80, 90 even, what you arrive at that ripeness. And beyond that ripeness, there is nothing else. Of course, I will add to that ripeness coupled with readiness. Unless you are ready, you can't be ripe. Unless you're ripe, you cannot be ready for the next eventuality or whatever. I don't name it, whatever it is. So that is how I spent 2.5 months there, and then I saw how that ripeness is there. And again, coupled with readiness, acceptance, celebration of what is left in life. That is tremendous, I think. I don't know. That's all I can talk about. I don't know anything.
So is your next book going to be about celebrating the 80s and 90s and living independently, learning new skill sets, languages and arts and crafts? Is that what you're going to be writing about? And the relationships in the autumn season, is that what you're going to talk about?
I'm thinking about it, because when I witness things, they all inspire me to write, so.
Correct.
But in a way, I also look at, how they are able to absorb all this. That's it.
So if you need a beta reader, I'm here available to read your manuscript and give you my insights, which will be useless, but I'd love to read it.
I'm actually I'm working upon an immigrant story now at the moment. So very nice listening to all of you. Thank you very much for this platform, having given this platform to me. And well, thanks.
And we wish you the very best with your new books.
I would like to share something here. Sujata is very modest. She won the Commonwealth short story writing competition. 5,000 writers from all over the world, and Sujata won the first prize. She won't talk about it, but her short stories, she's written novels also, but her short stories are something very special. Sujata can get into the skin of anybody. She can get into, when she was a young woman, she could get into the skin of an old woman. She could get in the skin of a Chinese or a Japanese. And that is what's very fascinating to me when I read her short stories. Thank you so much, Sujata.
I know. I would like to respond to you for 1 minute. I know that you have been you do think always of my Commonwealth Prize, but the only happiness, how I felt happy is that in an English-speaking Commonwealth Prize, getting an Indian writer getting a Commonwealth Prize, when so many writers from the English-speaking world were there, Australians were there, Canadians were there, another British lady who got the second prize. I was always in touch with her, Julia Darling, and she was full of praise for my story. Then I felt good. Otherwise, no, I didn't realize that it is something great.
And I must share this very much with you people. The short story, and it's a story about a lady, a patient in a hospital who has cancer, and she's thinking, what will happen. She hears the sound of sweeping, something or the other happening. It was so graphic, extremely so graphic. And my sister, who was in Hyderabad, and ironically, she later on passed away because of cancer, but she had asked Sujata, you send me your stories and I know the Deccan Herald people and I'll get it published. And then when Sujata had that time not sent it for the Commonwealth Prize, she sent it to my sister. She calls me up and says, my sister calls me up and says, Roopali, can you ask you to please send me another story? Because it's so real. And I have 2 friends who have cancer and they'll read it on Sunday morning and feel very upset. So that means the power of that story. That it was saying what a person was suffering. And so my sister didn't want it. She didn't want it published,
Yeah,
and
I can understand.
That is her ability. So your winning the prize is nothing surprising to me.
No.
And I'm sure, we can talk about
I understand. I understand how you felt, and I understand how your sister felt, and I can. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Sujata.
Thank you.
And I have been honored to interact with ShailajaGanguly online thanks to this group we created. She's a journalist, editor, writer, poet, voiceover artist, and a sought-after anchor for classical music and dance recitals by Bharat's best artists. She herself looks like a dancer, does she not? She has done Dhruva's story for Amar Chitrakatha, festive season short stories, Surrender, a novel, spiritual biography of A.A. Khan, ACP Crime, been deputy editor Femina, which I have been reading since I was a kid, editor Namaskar, Air India, and also produced in-flight music with script and voice for several years for Air India under an HMV contract. Still in the hot seat doing writing, editing, anchoring. I don't know how I dared even to be here coordinating this meeting when we have her here. Oh my goodness. Please come on over. Welcome to you, Shailaja. Lovely meeting you. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you so much, Rupa. Thank you so much, Roopali and Pushpa, who is not here, for including me. I was really not convinced for a long time that I belonged here because I have been in so many areas of learning, I would say. I'm still learning. But listening to all these amazing women, I can again endorse and say that age is not a state of life, it's a state of mind. And especially Saroja ma'am, I think I have drawn so much inspiration from her story, because bringing up 3 children when you have lost your husband must not have been an easy feat at all. Okay, now I chose to, when I was asked, and Pushpa actually had a hard time, I think, because I wrote double the that word limit thing because there was so much to say, having been in so many fields. But then Pushpa was very kind to halve it, I think. So that's how I came here. But I chose to title it as Our Story, because the 10 years in Femina told me that in one way or the other, we are all a sisterhood of women who at that particular time when feminism just touched our shores, had to fight a lot of battles, first within us, to feel not guilty for having wanting to do something outside of being a good daughter, a good wife, a good mother, and then to go out and prove into the world. Because even if the family understood, the whole idea in a normal household was, if a woman goes out to do something apart from being a good wife and mother, she's actually saying that the family cannot provide for her. This was the kind of, cloud under which we had to move. And then, of course, the discrimination, the gender bender quarrels that we had to undergo. But I must say that being in those 10 wonderful years in Femina, we did a lot more work outside of producing a fortnightly friend. Outside of that, because we were talking, counseling, writing letters to women who needed to pull up their confidence levels. Just to say that I am good in needlework, or I am good in teaching, I'm good in writing. I want to go out there and prove myself. And most of all, earn an independent income and thereby add to my self-respect and discover myself apart from the traditional rules. None of these women wanted to give up what was already there. I remember as a child, I used to write down the sayings, which impressed me. And one saying I wrote because it puzzled me was, a woman has to go twice as far, to get half as much. And that was the truth. When we went out into the field, we could not neglect in any way. We could not shortchange. Not that we wanted to, but we had to make the day longer than it was, just so that everything else is in its place. Because it was important for us to prove that it is possible for a woman to be here, there, and everywhere and do well on all fronts. The tagline of Femina was thoughtful, contemporary, and aware. And I'll tell you a couple of things which, made us feel it was worth it being there in that hot seat at that time. There was this young man who had brought a girl from the village, married to him because the parents had decided. And the girl, he was an MNC employee and he didn't know how to bring her out into the public to parties and events. So we made her, taught her how to wear a sari, got her into beauty, grooming classes, conversational English classes, just to make her feel that I belong here, That is one small victory. Then when I was teaching creative writing, there was this lady who used to come in a chauffeur-driven car and very well organized, living in the high end of Bombay. When I told her that she was very good at what she was doing in the class, when I told her I would publish a write-up that she had done in Femina and pay her at that time 350 rupees, that woman held me and wept. Why? Because for the first time, she was discovering that her own talent was able to fetch her an extra halo. For her, it was very important. So these are the small victories, and to make a point that skills are not gender-based. I ran a column called Men Can Cook. And we had very important men who were doing very important things in the world outside to enjoy and tell that cooking is not something which only women should do. All these little battles that we won made it a very profitable, mentally, psychologically time being in Femina. Then being, television had just arrived. So one went into broadcasting, again doing women's forum, everywhere choosing the platform to up women's confidence and tell them, no, you are not a lesser person. So in all, it has been a wonderful journey, because even television, I did some wonderful programs, dealing with art, culture and everything. But, I was known as a person who didn't need a monitor, because we were taught to learn everything the hard way. We did our homework and we did whatever we had to do well. And I'm very proud to say that perhaps in spite of everything else that I did and I am doing, I was able to bring up a child with sound values. And today, she is almost like a surrogate parent when I want to bounce off ideas. In terms of role models, my mother was my first role model, because she was a postgrad in statistics and mathematics, and she was known as the Khajanchi in Tata's, where she worked for 3 decades and over. But like Anita said, my mother had no squeamishness wearing the same purple Banarasi sari that I remember for many occasions. It is not like today's children who want to change an outfit for a new party even, So this built up a very strong feeling. In fact, my editor, Vimla Patil, used to tell me, every day you open new windows in my mind, because I couldn't care less about what I was wearing. It was what was inside that mattered, according to me. But of course, when I turned anchor, which was a visible platform, I had to think about how to dress, how to look, how to present, etc. So the main thing is that at any age, at any stage, if you think you can, you can. Today, I'm very happy to say that I'm connected very closely with the Spiritual Center, which has many programs for women empowerment. We have an organization which taught the local fisher women, farmer women of Karnataka to stitch and embroider gift articles worthy of export. And we are doing that. And I'm very happy to say that if you look at their gait, look at the way they speak, look at their open faces, their happy smiles. This is the, joy of helping another woman, feel I am worth it. So this has been my journey. And I wanted to read a poem, but I don't think that is important, because this is the message I wanted to convey, that at any stage, at any age, anything is possible. Right now, for example, I'm learning Sanskrit, and I'm very happy to say I still feel nervous before my exams, although I did well in the last one. And I am a student of music. I dance. It's a dance exercise program, but it is wonderful. And the Mumbai troupe, of which I was a part, 2 years ago, we won out of 11 cities, we brought back the award for doing the best item which was a Lavani, which is not easy to perform. So this is the kind of drive, and I feel like many of the women said that there is only here and there is only now. Forget about what you have achieved. Forget about what lies tomorrow. What is on your table, do the best. And I think that that is the way to live. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Shailaja, the wonderful takeaway from your words today is there's only the now and here.
Yes.
And I think Saroja ji also had a similar theme, and her faith, rooted in faith, is what made it easier. I'm so excited to meet each one of you today whose names I'm not also taking. Please know I'm honored to be here today with you. I've also had the pleasure of interacting with Shubha Hariharan Narayanan sometime online. And of course, I'm in awe of her saris. Oh my God, one day I would love to just go and steal a few or borrow a few and wear them. They are so wonderful. Saris apart, she herself is amazing. She started her career as a lecturer in DU, joined civil services, later worked in UN for over a decade, and was CEO of a 122-year-old healthcare organization post-retirement. Published author, translator. She's authored 3 novels, 1 anthology of poems, a book on Ayurveda, and translated 3 magnum opus of Kalki Krishnamurti, including Ponniyin Selvan from Tamil to English, and 1 of Kalki Rajendran, a postgraduate in Sanskrit from DU, in financial management from Bombay University. She holds certificate in strategic management from University of Oxford in UK. And as we all know, she's so fluent in Sanskrit also. I am honored to invite you, Shubha, to come on and share what you've written about and why did you write about that particular person. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Rupa. I feel very, very humbled listening to all who have spoken till now. And women are, like Krishna told in Bhagavad Gita, women are embodiment of Shakti. So, but I also would say that our generation, my generation who are in their late 60s or 70s and 80s or even 90s now, we were in a different world and a different universe. I wanted to tell you why this article and why what I wrote was, I mean, several years back, maybe in the late 80s, I was posted in Bombay. And I have led a very nomadic life because I've been posted all over the country and abroad and all those things. But when I was posted in Bombay, my personal secretary was a young Sindhi girl, a very sweet girl. One day, those were days when the officers were paid salary directly into the banks, but the staff members were paid cash. So she came to me and requested me whether she could keep, like maybe 200 or 300 rupees in my cupboard, because only the officers were given cupboards those days. So I said, okay, but I asked her for the reason. So she said that she came from a poor family and her parents could not afford to sort of give them gifts or anything for any occasion, and her in-laws used to um, uh, literally torture her a lot about it. So she would every month save 200 to 300 rupees, keep it in my cupboard, and only tell in the family that she was getting a lesser amount of salary. I mean, now that really shocked me, because this was a girl who wouldn't have liked to lie, who would have liked to be honest, but she has been forced to tell a lie in the family where she has gone to live. And I wouldn't blame her at all, because I was facing a similar situation. I started working when I was just 21, and at 23 I joined the civil services. And we are from Kerala, and my parents were very progressive, and we were all educated well. and choosing our own subjects. And but I went into a very orthodox Tamilian Brahmin family, where the patriarchy ruled, like sort of. So my salary was, of course, I didn't hide my salary or anything. Everybody knew what I was getting, but it was theirs. It was, I had no right on it, really. On even holding a big post, I didn't have right on it. And I also saw that in my generation, our generation rather, so um, um, men and women completely went through a transition period. Every generation has a transition, but ours had a different kind of a transition. Women started doing whatever their fathers did. My mother never went to, took the children to a doctor, or went out shopping, or drove a car, or bought a house, or took a loan, or anything. But what all was my father's role? I mean, like, women started doing what their fathers did, but continued to do what their mothers did. And men stopped doing what their fathers did, and did not even start doing what their mothers did. So, and the word superwoman was coined in our generation, which is perhaps the most unfair word, because we wanted to live like superwomen. I used to think that, okay, somebody does 70% of whatever I'm doing, 130%, because I'm doing 70% of a man and 70% of a woman, and that kind of thing. And another word which really rankles me even today is the name a home, a person, like a homemaker. And as though working women compromised on homemaking. Rather, I have seen those in my generation, I've seen non-working women who would have lot of time having the maids and relaxing and taking. I mean, I wouldn't even have time to take a proper bath every day. It would be finished in 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and living in a place like Bombay and all those. And always I lived in metros. And so this my PA telling me that she had to do this set me. I mean, it became not just a thought, it became an obsession, it became a mission in my life. For the next 20 years, wherever I was posted across the country, even abroad, I would talk to women. I mean, women of any post, any designation, any level, any background, I would talk to them. And I found that truly, it was the case with most women. Like, women really were. Um, we sort of I started feeling that the lives of my mother or grandmother or great grandmother was better, because they were not ATM machines in the families, but we became ATM machines also in the family. Now, all that talking to women and watching, and I was a bureaucrat, so I had a view which was from the other side, from the policy making side, from a different side, from where the view is actually quite a different, and one could see at a very larger perspective about what was happening in the society. And about maybe or about 10 years back, all that culminated into a book. I wrote a book which was published by Times Group, and which was about women of our generation, especially working women of our generation, who chose to have elite careers, but did not enjoy and still were suppressed by patriarchy. I sent the preface to my book itself ran to 8 pages. I sent it to 8 people. 7 of them were women, and from various walks of life: a CA, somebody who worked as a director in the Air India, a professor, a doctor, a social scientist. Like, I sent to all the 7 women responded in somewhat similar tone, say, oh, you have written about my life. This is how I would have written if I had written this book. Third, oh, this is a societal record of what our generation of women went through. And the eighth person, the only man to whom I sent, who is a friend for 45 years, and he had a one-line response saying, "Well, you have the arrogance of wisdom." And you know, I was so speechless. I was 62, and I was, even if I express about what my generation of women went through, that was considered arrogance of wisdom. And whereas a man could say anything at any age. So I would actually say the situation, India lives in different centuries at the same time, at different places in the same time, and different generations live at the simultaneously. We have pockets where it like compartments, like bogies in the train. Some have gone ahead, some are still at the back. And I would just finish by saying that very recently, a couple of months back, a head of the department from Lady Shri Ram College, which is perhaps one of the most prestigious colleges of Delhi University. The head of the department told me about a student of ours who is a postgraduate and who is perhaps in her late 20s, was married into a business family, and when in Delhi, in the north, there is this modikawa, like people come to see the new bride, and when people would visit, she was not allowed to come into the drawing room. She was only supposed to pass on the tray of snacks, and once when pressed by somebody, she came inside and sat on a chair, and after the guests left, she was slapped. And then after that, whenever people came, she was made to sit on the floor. And a student who passed from the most elite college of in Delhi, who lives in Delhi, who is in her late 20s, I wouldn't have allowed any such thing happening to my daughter, who is now 40. And then you can imagine this girl in her 20s. And this head of the department was very concerned and worried that what should we do about it? We should go to the National Commission of Women. There are ways, there are so many legal ways of going about it, but they are all very, very difficult even today. Even as a, I got to see even abroad. My headquarters in the UN organization was in Italy, and it was a scientific organization, genetic engineering and biotechnology. And it was I saw the most scientific minded scientists, and there also women had a different level of this kind of transitions and pressures on them. And it's not restricted to one country. Again, in the world itself, it's like a moving train. And later on, about till a couple of years back, I had an assignment as the CEO of an Ayurvedic institution, which is the first Ayurvedic institution of India. It's in Kottakkal in Kerala, and headed by a 100-year-old managing trustee, who was a Padma Bhushan, and it's an Ayurveda Maharshi, Dr. P.K. Warrior. And I learned so much there. It was so different, and so different in some ways. Some people looked at things, and some people who had vision, some people who were different. And so this fact astonishes me a lot. Now I am a Tamilian Brahmin, but I belong to Kerala. I don't belong to Tamil Nadu. But in Tamil Nadu, Brahmin girls are not marrying Brahmin boys at all, because all the time they are thinking about what their mothers went through. And this was what prompted me to write that article, the book. And this is a theme still which works on my mind. Even if I talk to my maidservant, the first thing that comes in, well, is she suffering because of her own shortcomings, or is she suffering because she is a woman? That comes foremost in my mind. So this has become sort of part of my personality. So this is what I would like to submit and stop here.
Thank you so much, Shubha, for sharing the differences and the similarities, no matter what walk of life and strata of society does a woman come from, and which country she is from matters very little because it's a global epidemic. And it's been happening for ages in different versions and forms. So thank you so very much for a wonderful share. We appreciate your time and your insights.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Shubha. In fact, women internalize patriarchy, and then we do all kinds of things in our home, within the home. And I think some of you have mentioned that, and that how maybe a mother-in-law or somebody would not like you to progress, and do well. So these things happen, and we have to when we voice these things, I think we can also stop these things. Thank you so much.
I invite Arti Chopra. Arti was born in 1953 and is a published poet and an artist. She is a graduate in BSc Home Science and a B.Ed. She is widely traveled. Her poetry looks deep into the causes and results of the environmental devastation around her. As a military wife, Arti has worked for the welfare of military families. She lives in Gurgaon and travels frequently to her children in Singapore and Goa. Arti, welcome, and over to you.
Thank you so much. I hope everybody can hear me.
Very clear?
Yeah. So firstly, I want to thank Roopali. She's behind this effort. And I want to say that after listening to all these very, very inspiring ladies, I feel embarrassed to be here because I'm basically just an ordinary housewife. But then I also believe that being a housewife or a homemaker, as they call it now, is a very, very important job. And, as nurturers, as mothers, I feel that if we look after our families, if we teach our children well, and if they turn out to be good human beings, I think we have succeeded enormously in our job. And
Well said.
yes, and I draw my inspiration from my mother. Well, I'm sure most of us do. And I also want to say here that the childhood plays a very, very important role. When I look back at my life, I just remember a wonderful childhood. We were smothered in love. I had a fabulous, very um, far-sighted, far-visioned dad in those days. And my mother, of course, was very old-fashioned, not very highly educated. But what really inspired us was that my dad, in spite of being so highly educated and being married to somebody who was not intellectually as great as him, he was always praising his wife to us, our mother. I mean, he really made us see her in a new light. And today I try to do the same for my children. And then another thing I want to say is that, like somebody else mentioned, that I have a very deep, very abiding faith in God. And I think God helps those who help themselves is very true. And I think that one can achieve anything if you go about the right way and you have the will. Of course, everybody has so many ups and downs in life. I've been very, very blessed. I don't know. I really don't know. I have some good karma that God has been really very kind to me. And I also believe that we keep learning our whole lives. There is no end to learning. And, our dad inculcated that love of learning in me and my sister. And I'm 72. I'm going to be 72 this year. My sister is 4 years younger to me. And we both are still learning. And we love learning anything new at all. So, though I may not be so highly qualified as all of you, but I think that just a thought that I'm doing quite okay I'm very fond of writing. I'm a self-taught artist. I've sold a lot of paintings. I just had an exhibition recently. Totally self-taught, just because the will was there. Because my dad used to keep telling us that you can learn anything you want to, but that wanting to should not stop. So that is my story in my life. And I was also blessed. I lost my husband about 1.5, 2 years back. We had a fabulous, fabulous marriage. He was my true soulmate. My world was shattered when he passed away unexpectedly. And actually, that's how I met Roopali by accident after many, many years. She was very well known to my husband, and they were together in Hyderabad as young children or young adults, I would say. And Shailaja was a common factor who guided me to Rupali. And Rupali, I sent her some of my writings and my poetry, and she encouraged me to come here. So thank you very much for having me. And I hope my inputs have been, uh, inspiring. But I really believe that your faith in God and the willingness to learn, that really helps a lot in life.
Very well said. Faith in God definitely is a big anchoring factor for many, many people, not only through the bad times, but also the good times,
Yes.
especially maybe the good times, come to think of it.
Yeah.
And that you paint, you write, and we are so sorry for your recent loss, and that you
Yes. Thank
have
you.
managed to hold yourself together, stayed in touch with friends like Shailaja, Roopali is the way to be. I think sisterhood is a lot of important part of anyone's life. And I think sisterhood is what uplifts us and actually needs to be cherished and nurtured. Thank you
Yeah, and
so
I
much
would
for
like to
sharing.
mention one little thing over here that, I write quite a lot. I write blog posts and other things. Another lady was mentioning that I don't know why it's very sad that we women are, women's own enemies sometimes. And, it's really very sad to see, even in the papers you read so many. I mean, I wrote an article when I got married. I'm just giving my personal example. I also faced a tough time with my mom in law and sister in law. And it is at that time I swore to myself that my daughter in law will be the most loved girl in the world. Because, in our Indian system, I'm telling you, um, we come from a different family, a different background, different culture, different so many things. And you go into a new family, and the woman is expected to absolutely adapt into everything. Uh, we all can make a little beginning, at least by remembering what we went through and making sure that our daughter-in-laws don't go through that. So that is one thing I really feel very strongly about, and I've written a couple of articles on this, and the response has been very good. So I hope women will always help women. Yes, sisterhood is okay, but many times the sisterhood is really lacking, and that upsets me a lot. Don't you agree?
Noted. Noted. And
Yes.
I hope the experience changes for everyone, whoever's going through not enough sisterhood support. And
Yes.
I love to hear that charity begins at home by every woman treating the next woman well. And that's
Yes.
how the cascading effect, rippling effect, and the butterfly effect. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. And Rupali, anything you want to say
Yes,
before I invite Archana?
Aarti, we're all homemakers. We have to look after our home, our children. Without that, whether you're men or women, we have no other, we need a home, we need a house. But
Yes.
she's also a poet. She's a very good poet. She's a very well known and she's a published poet. She's an artist, a painter. And if you see her house, you'll be zapped. You can't It's unbelievable the way she can do. She's an interior decorator. And of course, she's such a wonderful person. But I knew her husband. I loved reading what she's written. You must read it. One of the very romantic lives that she's led. She's married to an extremely handsome fighter
Yes.
pilot.
Yes.
In fact, when we were young and we knew her husband, we used to keep hoping he would look at us, but he never did because I think he had her somewhere tucked away. And
In fact,
so,
this is my second book, Rupali.
yeah,
Thanks to you. My
so
first book, I want to mention. I wrote a book called My Life with the Boys in Blue. Blue stands for the blue uniform of the Air Force.
yes,
And I got very upset seeing the general reaction. Sorry to say, civilian people don't know much about life in the armed forces. And life in the armed forces for the woman can be really, really tough because most of the time, quite a lot of the time, you're without your husband, you're managing the children and everything on your own. So I decided that I will write a book from the woman's perspective. So I wrote it, showing what is life like, especially in the Air Force, especially as a fighter pilot's wife. Because believe me, when our husbands go to fly, we really don't know whether they are going to come back. Because sorry to say, the aircrafts were so outdated. Now, thanks to a new PM, we have the latest equipment. But at that time, it was not there. My husband has suffered an ejection where he nearly lost his life, and I cannot forget those days.
yeah, Shamala
So,
is not here.
yes,
Shamala's
yes,
husband was also fighter pilot.
yes.
She lost
She would
him.
have also given you a insight into that.
But I remember your husband very well, and in fact, as I said, that he's so good looking and such a handsome young man that all we young girls, we used to keep hoping that someone would look at us. But we had Arti tucked away somewhere.
Yeah.
So have a wonderful life and be a great poet as you are, Arti.
Thank you, Rupali. You've been so encouraging and so kind. And Rupa, thank you so much for having
Lovely
me. And thanks
meeting
to
you.
all of you. I enjoyed listening to everybody. It was a lovely interaction. And I feel so proud to be a woman. And let me tell you, when I pray every night, I ask God to make me a woman again in the next birth, if there is.
That ours too.
Very good.
Beautiful.
Yes, yes.
Beautiful.
I would like to thank you, and I want to invite Archana Bendre, who's also in Meerut, like Roopali. She's a teacher by profession. She received her education in Presentation Convent, Srinagar, Kashmir, Loreto Convent, Darjeeling, Sophia Girls School, Meerut, post-graduation from Meerut College, and she's a Bharatnatyam dancer, published poet, short story writer. Writing poetry is her passion. She publishes regularly in Story Mirror, Medium, and Asia Literary Society, and many other. Gardening and taking care of environment is her daily routine. She loves cooking. All women must be educated and prepared to be an independent person. Rest not until you achieve your best is her motto. Sorry. She believes live in the present, live every moment of your life. Life is precious. You live only once. Over to you, Archana.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Rupali and Rupa. After hearing so many, everybody's, they are so inspiring that I feel only listening instead of talking about myself. Because each and everyone is giving a message. And I have really loved. And I also come from an army background. My father was in the army. And we literally knew what life is. He taught us the dignity of labor and how to be independent, bold. So everything was actually inherited from my parents. And my mother also, after my marriage, I wasn't working that time. So mother pulled me out and she said, what is the use of getting so much education if you are going to just sit at home and do nothing? So I literally came out, I joined the school, and till after that, I should say, flying. In the sense, I was with children, enjoying teaching them. My children, my husband, all cooperated with me. They all supported me. And I've seen a beautiful life. There's nothing to say anything. And actually, used to write, but Rupali pulled me out. She said, you write for this and this book. Earlier, I was writing for other anthologies also, on different platforms also. But Rupali, she's such a wonderful person I wasn't not much interested in the sense, what was there to write? But she told me, you better write. And so that is how I came into this, you can say, 70 carats and more. Actually, Rupali, I have long connection with her husband. Her husband, Pran, and we, our family, we used to stay in the same house. We used to stay in their house. And we grew up together, literally grew up together. He's more like my brother, my younger brother. And his elder sister and we both great friends. I mean, there's nothing to, even the doors were kept open. Nobody could make out which is our house or which is their house. So that is how I literally grew in that. When Rupali came to my house and she told me, and she only told me, why don't you write? I said, written some anthologies also in some, but I didn't take it seriously. I didn't feel that, I didn't know that I will be writing or something. I didn't take seriously about writing poems are there, but publishing books, I have so many hundreds and hundreds of poems I've written, some stories I've written, but they are with me only and only on platforms and all, but I haven't published. Everybody is asking, why don't you publish? Why don't you publish? I'm taking it lightly. So that is how I grew up with the society, and I love, and my husband is a Rotarian also. My husband is a professor. So he's a botanist and I'm in zoology. So my son is a doctor. And my daughter, she's also teaching my daughter-in-law, she's a gynecologist. So our family, that way, educated family on. So I enjoy with them everything, my grandchildren and all. So I enjoy being with my grandchildren, my children, my family, everything. So, but after hearing this, I was a little bit, dazed and so inspiring. Learning from all this, I still can't believe that I'm in this Zoom meeting. I'm actually seeing them in front of me. All these such wonderful people, they are in books already, right? But when you see them in the Zoom face to face, then there you come to say, oh my, and you hear from them their stories. So I'm really, I should say, I'm lost, frankly speaking. I'm lost. So that is what I've simply loved this Zoom meeting. I've learned so much. There's so much to learn. I enjoy doing everything, but learning is so much. You always keep learning. And of course, I believe in God. My faith in God is very strong. And dancing and all, and Rotary. My husband is in Rotary, so we go to the Rotary, we go to various functions, we go for various activities and all. So I still feel life is to live, and I'm living. Not a dull moment in my life. So much to do. And I don't know what to do and what not to do. So much to do. And I still write. So thank you for inviting me. And I enjoyed every moment of it.
Thank you so much, dear Archana, for your wonderful words. And yes, life is for living, and every moment is so important. And Roopali, before I hand over the podium to you, I want to share one quote. Beautiful young people are accidents of nature. Beautiful old people are works of art. I'm not daring to call anybody old here, but I'm just saying the 70 plus are works of art, and each one has such a beautiful story to share. And it's been an honor and a privilege to be part of this group today and be able to listen in. Roopali, you are the common thread between each one.
Your Rupa, when I saw that poster of your face, I was so, sort of attracted. And I was such a beautiful person I'm going to meet today. And so when I'm talking to you, I can't believe that I'm talking to you, but I'm speaking right in front of you. Thank you so much. Thank you
Oh
so
my God, I'm
much.
so humbled.
Actually, I've been observing you. You are conducting each and every, and you are talking to everyone so sweetly and so nicely. I just, you are a wonderful person. And Rupali and Rupa and Rupali, I should say.
Thank
Wonderful.
you so much, Archana. And Rupa is part of Roopali. I'm 4 letters of her 6 letters. So it's been a pleasure knowing her. And just share one trivia.
Thank
Roopali's
you.
sister was a teacher in my school. So I
Okay.
know her family, not her directly, but I met her online, and it's been a fun fun journey, and I'm sure we will be connected for a long time to come. And a lot of people thanked her, but I want to acknowledge she's just a very warm human being who nurtures relationships. And I think she takes them seriously. And that's what I love about her. And Roopali, this is your moment to shine in the sun for the book that you've come out with and talk about it. I wish
Yes.
Pushpa was also here, but let's hear from you. Over to you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Rupa, because what we've done today would not have happened without your putting us together, bringing out the best in us, making us talk. And of course, Prasanna, for giving us your forum. It's a pity that there was a little bit of a problem with the, but you know, technical problems happen. They happen at the best of places. I have seen very well-known classical singers getting angry and walking out because their mic is not working or their, you know, things are not going. So I don't think we should bother about that at all. Prasanna is feeling very bad. And he's telling me, ma'am, we should do this again. We have to repeat this. I said, no, we're not going to do it again. And what I wanted to say was, you know, simultaneously with the publishing of this book has been my first novel, which was written 35 years ago, got published. But what I want to share is not my novel, but you won't believe it, that has not been so important to me as this one. This book has superseded everything because these are the stories of lives of all of us. You know, it's not just a novel that's been written. These are real stories. They're authentic stories of women. And if you ask me why I thought of this, every time I go out into anywhere, there'll be a bus or an auto rickshaw in front of me saying, "Beti bachao, beti padhao." Yes. Beti bachao, beti padhao. Save the girl and educate the girl. And then it gets on my nerves. And I thought to myself that my parents didn't have to bachao me, but padhao, yes. And all the time, you know, there is an effort in this country to negate everything that happened, you know, that many years ago. Who were we? The empowered women are today's women. What did we do? We were not empowered. How did we get educated? Who did that? Who helped us? Who inspired us? So that's why I went to 70 carats, you know. I didn't even go to 60. I said, no, 70, I'll take 70. A lot of people said, oh, why can't I write? I said, no, you become 70, then you write. So I have been encouraged and helped by my teacher, Kamla Menon, who taught me at Mount Carmel College in Bangalore. She was constantly egging me on to go ahead and do this. And earlier it was to be my classmates. But then they were making a big fuss. Somebody was saying, no, I'm very busy. Someone saying, what is it? I've not done anything great. And who's going to read it? And then I said, you know, it's a legacy. It's a thank you to our parents. It's a thank you to the people who brought us up. It is not about us at all. Did you feel when you were writing that it was about you? It was really a thank you to those who brought us up, who gave us the opportunities. And then I said, I'll open it up to others. And my 95-year-old friend, Mrs. Chandar Vepa, who lives in Goa now, every day she ring me up and say, how is it going? How is it going? You know, how are things going? Do you remember Subha Lakshmi?
Of course, with lot of love and affection, I remember.
She was so enthusiastic. She was so encouraging. And so this is a product of very authentic voices, real voices, you know. And people have opened up their heart. And I said, look, you don't have to write anything personal. You know, I don't want to know something that you don't want to say. Tell us about your education. Tell us about your parents. Tell us about how they helped you. Tell us about if some personal thing helped you to go ahead, then write it. But I'm not nosing around for anything personal. There are a few people who have not, you know, ordered the book even after having written. I don't know why, I can't understand it. But, you know, we all have our own little, you know, hang-ups, as I say. But thank you so much. This evening has been wonderful. It's put me in touch with all of you again. my new friends and my old friends. Thank you so much.
I want to out of the way say one very tiny thing. When I met Roopali first, I was just 21 and as I joined as a lecturer in the Sri Venkateswara College, and I was not a very confident person. I was about to give the civil services examination. I was academically okay, but I was still, like not feeling quite at home with how to deal with. I was not stepped out of the house kind of a thing. So I was interviewed on the TV. Those days, TV was a very big thing, and on the TV for my Sanskrit or some such thing. So I went and shared this with Rupali. Rupali is only a couple of years older than me, and she was in the English department, and I used to call her the Sunshine Lady. And I went and told Rupali, only nobody else. I told her that, see, this is what has happened, and I have been interviewed on the TV. And she says, what? You saying this without any celebration? Let us go and celebrate. So we went to South Extension to Moti Mahal and had our lunch there. Like I can never ever forget the way she spread sunshine at every stage, every minute. Now I know her for half a century, and I have never seen a moment, even in the most difficult moment, she has spread only sunshine. She's truly a sunshine lady.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
I can't even, in 10 janam, I will not be able to be like Rupali.
Yeah,
Each one
Roopali.
is unique here, and I think, Roopali, the biggest thing today's event has come up and shown is, look at the way you hold your relationships well together.
Yes. But I want to learn more from Saroj. I really want to, because
each one was giving a learning experience today, and listening to each one was such a humbling experience, truly.
Yes,
and the person who
I
is
used
not
to be a
into
big
the
Femina reader.
I
I used to subscribe to Femina.
Oh yeah, my
so her name
parents,
is
they had
so
every
familiar.
magazine, and
I
Femina was
won
one
some
big
prize
one.
also. Twice I won prizes for the best letter.
Nice.
And the person who has not entered the 70 carat league, that is Rupa, who is for us next generation, has done such a fantastic, marvelous job of coordinating with all us old days. And
And where is Prasanna? Prasanna, please come back.
Prasanna, of course. Prasanna has given the platform itself. And he is, of course, for me, like a grandchild only. And he has provided the platform. And no words to
Prasanna is
thank.
very upset because it couldn't get recorded. I said, doesn't matter,
Doesn't matter at all.
It's all recorded
Prasanna,
here.
please come online and take a bow.
It's
Everybody
recorded
is so
here forever.
grateful. Prasanna, we are waiting for you to come online before we say goodbye, good night. Where are you, Prasanna? Are you coming? We need you here. I don't see him. Okay. Well, thank you to each one of you from the bottom of my heart for such a wonderful time. You revered elite group of authors, human beings that we really look up to. And the next generation stands on your shoulders to break further glass ceilings. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Kumar, you need to, I think, switch off.
Yes. Leave meeting?
Yes, leave meeting.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you very much. Good night. Good night to all.
Good night.
Good night.
And God bless.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I finally met all of you.
Yes. And what a wonderful group of.
Well, where is this Prasanna?
I don't know. I'm trying to find him. I don't see, I don't hear, nothing. Prasanna, are you there?
I think he got intimidated by this woman power.
Oh my God, too much estrogen for him. Kumar, are you coming online? No, I don't hear or see any response from him at all. Kumar, are you there? No. I'm trying, but he's not picking. Well, thank you to each one of you. And thank you for staying so long, because not only did we have technical glitches, we also went overtime. So thank you for so much time and love and warmth and your essence today in this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rupa. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
we'll meet again.
Well, you did so
Very
well.
soon.
Yes.
How does one go out of this?
I am trying to see leave meeting. You see that?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay. So you
Right.
click on leave meeting and you are done.
Yeah.
I can't see leave meeting.
Okay, let me see if I can help you with that. I see audio, video,
So
more.
Saroja, is that your son?
Yeah, that must be her son.
Yeah, we're so proud of your mom. We're so proud of her.
Granddaughter.
Granddaughter, okay. The T-shirt.
You muted yourself, Saroja ji. You have to unmute yourself. We don't hear you.
Okay, hi.
Unmute. Yeah.
Unmute. Yeah, பண்ணிட்டேன்.
Okay, you are the daughter?
Daughter
Okay,
இல்ல.
they left.
Okay. We're so proud of her. You're so proud of Saroja.
Yeah, I heard the whole episode. Felt very nice. Yeah.
Did you read her article in the book?
I haven't yet read, but I heard the whole stories, which was which everyone told.
Yeah, so nice, no?
Yeah,
Uh,
I will read it. Read the book. Yeah.
Nice
Lovely
meeting you.
And Saroja ji, especially, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Saluting you.
Many, almost all have read. They are so happy to see the article, all were very happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How do we leave this thing now?
You can cross it out.
Okay.
On the top right, you can cross it out.
Baba? Is something wrong with you? You're not okay? No. क्या हुआ? क्या हुआ? तबीयत ठीक नहीं है? हाँ? क्या हो गया? हाँ? तबीयत ठीक नहीं है? नहीं, तो ठीक है, स्टमक में थोड़ा। हेलो? Oh my God.